Christmas time, my friend and I have tickets to the Meyerson for their Christmas show. In fact, we have season tickets every year. And each year, she and I wear hats. And we bring a hat for our next lady next to us. And we sit in a very prominent place at the Meyerson. So where we're sitting is very obvious. Well, we had our hats on. We were sitting there watching the concert. And Marvin Hamlish, who is a famous composer, and he's a playful kind of conductor. Not all of them are. But he looked up at us and he yelled out, "Stop everything. Put the lights on those women in hats." And my friend and I were like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? Well, they put the lights on us. We had 2,000 people looking at us in our hats. And he said, "Why are you wearing hats?" And I said, "I own a costume shop so I bring hats for us." And he said, "Well, where is it?" And I said, "In Denton, Texas." He said, "Well, where's that?" And I said, 45 miles north of here. And he said, "Well, what's the name of it?" I said, "Rose Costumes." And somebody in the audience yelled out, "Her name is Judy." I have no idea who did that, but he looked up at me. He said, "If your name is Judy, why is the store called Rose Costumes?" And I said, "Because I named it after the Secondhand Rose song that Barbra Streisand sang in Funny Girl." And he jumped down from the podium, ran over to the piano, which is his main instrument, and he looked up at me and he played Secondhand Rose and he sang to me and used my name. And the audience was cheering and clapping, and it was so much fun. It was so spontaneous. And for the rest of the evening, as people left, as soloists were coming on and off, he'd say, "If you ever need a costume, you know where to go." And then he turned and he said the neatest thing, almost quietly. He looked up at me and he said, "Thank you for wearing hats." Every Saturday, my family knows that's where I am in the morning. Every single week that I possibly can go. I go to so many garage sales that people know me, and I try to travel incognito. But I mean, I dress like this when I go garage selling every time. I'm not. But see, I think I'm a billboard for my store. That's how I consider myself. Well, we're headed to an estate sale, and I'm hoping it's a real estate sale and not one that people just put that word out because it attracts more people. But now I just see this sign in the corner. It makes me think it's a serious one, that somebody is bothering to advertise it as one, not just in the paper. As far as garage selling, what I do is, how I organize it as far as coming, I take the newspaper and look up the garage sales. I don't go online and look yet. I guess the day will come when I'll have to. Then I make a list. I make a grid of the city of Denton, and I have upper, lower, left, and right quarters, just like a heart shape. And I work the sections of the city in sequence so I can get to as many as possible. And I do these on Saturday mornings, usually between 8 and noon. And I can get about between 20 and 25 garage sales in that length of time. So I expect that's going to be right up here, and I'm looking carefully for a sign. This is a little conglomeration of houses in here, so we'll get into. Ooh, it looks real interesting. Yay! It's going to be fun for them to try to park. Okay, this looks like a good one. Lots of stuff right out to the street. I have a very wide range of things I'm looking for my home, my garden, myself, my store, my antique booth, and I look for things for other people. I always try them on because if they fit me, they'll fit other people. If they're too small for me, they'll fit a kid. I'll get these. We put gloves with every vintage dress we rent. Gloves and a hat and a handbag. Cool. I'm gonna get those too. I make purses kind of like this. Well, here's sort of one. My big purse. These are manufactured, but I do my own thing, and they're bigger and more elaborate. I can get about between 20 and 25 garage sales in, but I move quite fast because I know what I'm looking for. I go bang, bang, bang. I'm sorry that it makes me look pro, but I am pro. I can't deny it. I don't know, it's like digging through somebody's bedroom drawers or something, but I just keep thinking, well, when I die, that's what they're going to be doing to me. I guess I'll do it to these people. But that's when you find the best stuff, really. Sometimes the most expensive, but it's better quality, and it's also more unusual. So that's why I like to go to estate sales. I love this little lamb here, concrete lamb. Yeah. It's going to go in my garden.
Yes, it's one concrete
I think it'll go right there. Okay. I think the thing weighs 30 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy.
And I got several children's costumes here. That's good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Because we can, for $1, we can mark them $5. Well, when I have the car loaded, I get home and I kind of sort it by what's going to go to the store and what's going to come in the house. And so I sort the stuff that goes in the house and bring that in and put it on my big cutting table in my sewing room. And I work, right then I start dealing it out. This is a reference book we'll use at the store for steampunk, which I've been talking about quite a bit. I'm always using belts for different things, although this belt is for me to wear. I have fatigue-looking clothes that I wear. Love this. This is a textile from India, probably torn off a bedspread, it looks to me. And I'll save this here in my collection of fabric and use it someday. This could also be another gypsy skirt. And one of my favorite things about it is it has holes in it. To me that shows it's lived a life. It has a history. I might put a patch on there of other velvet to make it look, more used. So that's that little load of stash. I just brought this in from the garage sale. I'm going to use this at the store, but right now I brought it in because I get it cleaned up and all ready for the store. It's kind of covered in cobwebs. There's a couple of projects I'm working on right now for the show Alice in Wonderland. I'm working on the flower head pieces for the different flowers that talk in the show. And I went on the internet and I find pictures, and then I build what I'm using. I build it off the picture. So it's going to be like this. This is my daisy. I have a rose, a pansy, a violet. So the girls are going to be wearing these, singing and talking and dancing in the show. My house is an extension of my store, and it's a creative outlet for me to do things there that I can't do here. It lets me just go crazy with ideas, and I have all kinds of support from my family to help me develop these ideas. So it's just something I love to surround myself with, and then I get great joy from being in its cocoon that I've built. As you walk into the front door, I just did an area. We have a fairly big foyer, and I've named it a Paris Salon. And it's kind of funky old things you'd find in Paris, but at flea markets and at kind of maybe estate sales in Paris. Some things even say Paris on them. But I have a book called The Paris Apartment that's heavily influenced how I did that room. I always like to introduce my bedroom before I open the door as this is not everybody's cup of tea, because it is as far overdone as you can make a room be. The influence for that was what I call my guru. Her name is Robin Brown, and she wrote a book called A Bit of Velvet, a Piece of Lace. And she has a booth in Round Top, that's where I first met her. But her book is about her theories of decorating. And her whole house is like that. It's in Bandera, Texas. It's a little farm out in the country. And she has done her whole house this way, and it is magical. I collected all those things in about 3 months. My kids helped me do it. I said they had to come in and cover the walls with plywood, because plywood is all that will support the rugs that have to go on the walls. And on top of rugs is lace, and on top of lace is pictures and lamps and everything that you saw. So I really feel like that bedroom is my kind of the best thing I've done. And I add to it all the time. You can't tell it, but I'm always finding things. My closet room started because we had a guest room, and I said to my husband, we don't walk in here from 1 month to the next. Do you mind if I make it into my own closet? And he said, I don't care what you do with it as long as there's a bed in there so a guest could sleep in there. And I said, okay, I can do that. So I went for it. I went to Home Depot. I got all the directions of how to build all those units, and I built it all myself. And I got a bed in the middle, and then I built everything around it that would hold my jewelry, my scarves, my hats. But you can sleep in there, and people do. So I have everything that I wear is in there, including my jewelry, my winter clothes, my hats, and it makes me use my clothing so much better because everything is in front of me. I can pick a blouse and a skirt and a hat and jewelry and not go from closet to closet to closet, which is what I used to do. I want to talk about my dining room area where I have a long table. I have a big family, 4 sons. We have daughters-in-law and children. We redid our kitchen 10 years ago to accommodate a big family for holidays. So we have 2 big long tables in the dining room, and that is something I use all year round to do what I call tablescapes. The current one is record albums used as placemats, and then I have napkins and napkin rings that look like black bow ties. I've staggered record albums down the middle that I got at garage sales for 50 cents each. I found an old record player from kind of the 60s, I think it is. It doesn't work, but so I come up with these ideas about every 2 months. I'll change it out. I'll find something that inspires me to do something different. But right now it's old record albums. My sons in the beginning were, I think, a little embarrassed of me. I wasn't like their friends' moms. And as years went by, I think they appreciated what I was doing more. And now they love what I do and are proud of what I do. But I can't honestly say that they were always thrilled with what I did. Picking things up from curbs, getting them to help me. Oh, Mom, this is so embarrassing, and that kind of thing. These are pictures of my husband, Jim, who died 2 years ago. I never changed this room for 20 years because he was comfortable in it. It was like a log cabin. So after he died, I felt like I could change it, and I just did something very feminine, which I don't think he would have been very comfortable with. But I think that he likes sitting here and watching all the things I've done. The cherry tree is a tree in a group of trees in the lot next to me that I own it with my next door neighbor. And I like to decorate everything, so I had this idea I saw on somebody else's property. They had a chair in their tree, and I thought, I'm going to do that, but to me, if one is good, 42 is better. So I just started collecting chairs, old chairs, and screwing them into the tree. I used to get up on step ladders and do it myself. Now I hire somebody or my kids do it for me. But it's just a fun thing, what to do with old chairs and a tree, and it makes me laugh. I think that's one of my main criteria about what I do. It has to make me laugh. My store is called Rose Costumes, and it started out 35 years ago as a store called Secondhand Rose, named after the song by Barbra Streisand. And it was, at that time, a lot of vintage clothing and knickknacks and furniture. But as years kind of went on, it became, people kept wanting to rent the vintage clothes. So I learned how to rent. I didn't know how to do that. I went to Dallas, went to a costume shop and said, how do you rent a costume? And they gave me a contract and I brought it home. And that, because I always sewed, it was like, the most fun release to me, like, oh my God, I can start making costumes. I started with one round rack of costumes that year, and it probably was about 1983. And of course now it's 5,000 costumes plus, and that was a very small store, 700 square feet. Now this store is almost 8,000 square feet. So this store now is mainly costumes to rent and very much for theater. We also, of course, have Halloween, we have parades, all kinds of different things we work with, but schools and their theater and community theater is our main business right now. Generally, for the people I employ, when I'm interviewing them, we ask them questions like, what did you wear last Halloween? And if they say we went out and rented a costume, that's like a big black mark. If they say, oh, I dug stuff out of my closet and I got some things from Goodwill and I put it all together and made my own thing, that's the kind of people we're looking for, because they have to be the creative brain for people walking in the door. The people who come here need us. They need help figuring out what to wear. They need people who have a good imagination. And that's what I'm looking for, is imagination. Are you comfortable with people who live different lifestyles than you? Because this store attracts different lifestyles of people. We say we have fundamentalist Christians, we have pagans, we have cross-dressers, we have strippers are our customers. And we have to be open and helpful to everybody, no matter if they have 10 piercings and a blue mohawk or whatever they look like. It doesn't matter. We are here to help them. My costumes, I've always called them, they're my children, because I create these things and I put my heart into them, and I don't like sending them out on many stores ship costumes all over the United States. They just create them up and ship them off to Indiana. I don't do that because I want to know that I could actually drive and get my costumes back if I needed to. Or that the people live close enough they can come and see what they're getting, not just having a box arrived and be unhappy with whatever they got because it wasn't what they pictured. So I limit my business by not doing that, by not renting beyond, I would say, 50 to 75 mile radius is as far as I rent. And we'll ship things here and there, one or two things, but certainly not whole shows, because I feel like I need to know where my children are every night. The legacy of my store is going to be, I hope, that the people who have worked for me go on and be more creative in their own life. And I've taught maybe 30 employees how to sew. And that would be my favorite thing, to have go on, that they could someday look back and say, that woman taught me how to sew. Because to me, sewing is the most creative outlet that can happen. I love kids to see what you can do with things you'd normally throw away. And that, it's to me, it's liberating to look at things in a different way. So my legacy is, as far as the whole business, I feel like that schools and the kids who come here and try on costumes and get to be in the dressing rooms and sit on the funny chairs and have the help they get, they'll never forget that. It's students, I think it's high school students that I really am hoping will always remember this store.